What if I told you that 9 tiny adjustments could put an extra $10,000 in your bank account this year? Not through some get-rich-quick scheme or risky investments, but through simple tweaks that take minutes to implement. Most people think building wealth requires major sacrifices or dramatic lifestyle changes. But the reality is far more surprising. The difference between financial struggle and financial freedom often comes down to small decisions that compound over time. These aren't the typical budgeting tips you've heard before. These are the underground strategies that the financially savvy use to quietly build wealth while everyone else wonders how they do it. The average American leaves thousands of dollars on the table every single year, not because they're bad with money, but because they've never been shown these specific techniques. Today, we're going to change that. Each strategy I'm about to share has been tested by real people getting real results. And when you combine all 9, the math becomes undeniable. So grab a pen and paper, because by the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to your extra 10 grand. The subscription audit that reveals hidden gold. Here's something that'll blow your mind. The average American household spends $2,940 per year on subscriptions they've completely forgotten about. That's nearly 3 grand just vanishing from your account every month, like some kind of financial magic trick. But here's where it gets interesting. Most people think they know what subscriptions they have. But recent studies show that 87% of us are dead wrong about this. Sarah from Denver thought she was pretty good with money, until she did what I'm about to show you. She set aside 15 minutes on a Sunday afternoon and went through her bank statements from the past 3 months. What she discovered shocked her. Netflix, sure, she knew about that one. Spotify, obviously. But then she started finding the others. A meditation app she'd tried once during a stressful week at work, still charging her $12 a month. A meal planning service she'd signed up for during a New Year's resolution phase, $49 monthly. A cloud storage upgrade she'd forgotten to downgrade after a big project at work. The kicker, she found a gym membership to a place that had closed down 6 months earlier, but they were still billing her through some automated system. In total, Sarah discovered $347 per month in subscriptions she wasn't actively using. That's over $4,000 per year she was essentially throwing away. But Sarah's story gets even better. She didn't just cancel everything. She used a strategy that most financial advisors don't even know about. For the subscriptions she actually wanted to keep, she called each company and asked about annual payment discounts. Netflix gave her 2 months free for paying yearly. Spotify knocked off 20%. Her phone company offered her a better plan when she mentioned she was reviewing all her expenses. The 15-minute audit turned into 47 minutes of phone calls. But when the dust settled, Sarah had freed up $293 per month, while keeping all the services she actually valued. Do the math on that. She basically gave herself a $3,500 raise just by paying attention to where her money was going. And this is just the beginning of what's possible. The cashback stacking secret retailers.
Most people think they're being smart by using one cashback app, but they're leaving serious money on the table. The real players know about something called cashback stacking, and it's completely legal even though some retailers absolutely hate it. Here's how the game really works.
The average household spends $57,000 per year on everything from groceries to gas to online purchases. Now, what if I told you that you could earn back at least 1.4% on all of that spending without changing your buying habits at all? That's nearly $800 per year in free money. But most people are only capturing about 20% of what's available to them. The secret is in the stack. Layer 1 is your cashback credit card. If you're not using one, you're already losing money. The Chase Freedom Unlimited gives you 1.5% on everything, while the Citi Double Cash gives you 2%. But here's where most people stop, and that's their biggest mistake. Layer 2 is the store-specific apps. Target's app gives you an additional 1% on purchases. Walmart's app offers varying percentages, plus exclusive deals. Amazon's Prime Card stacks with their regular cashback program. But even this isn't the full picture. Layer 3 is where the magic happens. Apps like Rakuten, Ibotta, and Dosh can be used simultaneously in many cases. Here's a real example from last Black Friday. Jennifer from Austin bought a laptop from Best Buy. She used her cashback credit card for 2% back, activated the Best Buy offer on Rakuten for 12% back, and used Dosh, which was running a special electronics promotion for an additional 3%. On a $1,500 laptop, she earned $255 in total cashback. The controversial part, some retailers are trying to limit this stacking because it cuts into their profit margins. They've started implementing systems to detect when customers are using multiple cashback methods. But as of now, it's completely within the terms of service for all these platforms. The key is timing and knowing which combinations work together. But there's an even deeper level to this strategy that 93% of people miss entirely. The psychological aspect of cashback stacking actually changes how you think about purchases, making you more intentional about where and when you buy things, which leads to better financial decisions overall. The 2-degree temperature trick that saves fortunes. Your thermostat is probably costing you more money than your car payment, and you don't even realize it. The Department of Energy has run extensive studies on this, and what they found will change how you think about home comfort forever. Adjusting your thermostat by just 2 degrees can save the average household over $1,200 per year. 2 degrees, that's the difference between 72 and 70 degrees in winter, or between 76 and 78 degrees in summer. But here's the psychological trap that keeps most people from implementing this simple change. We've been conditioned to think that comfort requires perfection, that we need our homes to be exactly the temperature we want at all times. This is actually a relatively new concept in human history, and it's costing us dearly. Marcus from Phoenix learned this lesson the hard way. His summer electricity bills were hitting $350 per month, and he was considering taking on extra work just to cover them. Then his neighbor, who had a similar sized house, mentioned his bills were running about $170. Same house size, same family size, but $180 difference every month. The secret, Marcus kept his house at 74 degrees during Arizona summers. His neighbor set his at 77 degrees, 3 degrees of difference, but it cut his cooling costs almost in half. When Marcus tried it, he was amazed to discover that after about a week, he couldn't even tell the difference. His body had adjusted completely, but the real game changer is what happens when you automate this process. Smart thermostats like the Nest or Ecobee learn your schedule and make these adjustments automatically. They can detect when you're home or away, adjust for sleep cycles, and even factor in weather patterns. The initial investment of $200 to $300 typically pays for itself within 6 months through energy savings. Here's the advanced strategy that energy companies don't advertise. Many utility companies offer rebates for installing programmable or smart thermostats, sometimes covering the entire cost. Plus, some areas have time of use pricing where electricity costs more during peak hours. A smart thermostat can automatically adjust your usage to avoid these expensive periods, saving you even more money. The compound effect is where this gets really interesting. That $1,200 in annual savings, invested at 7% returns, becomes over $16,000 in 10 years. All from moving a dial 2 degrees and letting technology handle the rest. The spare change investment revolution. Small change used to disappear into couch cushions and car cup holders, but now it's building millionaires. Roundup investing apps have created a completely new way to build wealth, and the results are shocking even financial experts. The concept is brilliantly simple. Every purchase you make gets rounded up to the nearest dollar, and that spare change gets automatically invested in a diversified portfolio. Here's where it gets interesting. The average person makes about 43 transactions per month, according to recent banking data. If each transaction rounds up by an average of 50 cents, that's $21.50 per month being invested automatically. Over a year, that's $258. But when you factor in compound growth at historical market returns of about 10% annually, that spare change becomes $1,500 or more by the end of year 1. Rachel from Seattle started using Acorns 2 years ago and forgot about it completely. She just let it do its thing in the background. When she checked her account recently, she was shocked to find over $3,800 sitting there. She hadn't felt the impact of the roundups at all because they were so small, but they had been working quietly in the background, growing her wealth without any effort on her part. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Traditional investing feels overwhelming because people think they need large amounts of money to start. But Roundup investing removes all the mental barriers. There's no decision fatigue about how much to invest or when to invest, because it happens automatically with every purchase. But here's where most people are doing it wrong. They sign up for one app and think that's enough. The savvy investors are using multiple strategies simultaneously. Some use Acorns for roundups, Stash for goal-based investing, and Qapital for rule-based savings, all at the same time. The key is diversifying not just your investments, but your automatic investment triggers. The compound effect becomes truly powerful when you add boosts to your roundups. Most apps allow you to multiply your roundups by 2, 3, or even 10 times. If you can afford to double your roundups, you're looking at over $3,000 per year being invested automatically. Add in market growth, and you're building serious wealth without feeling like you're sacrificing anything. Financial advisors who used to dismiss microinvesting as insignificant are now recommending it to their clients as a gateway to building better financial habits. The success rate for people who start with Roundup investing and then move on to larger investment strategies is over 80%, compared to just 37% for people who try to start with traditional investing methods. Credit card churning for regular people. Credit card churning sounds like something only finance experts can do, but the reality is that regular people are earning thousands in sign-up bonuses every year using completely ethical and legal strategies. The key is understanding that credit card companies spend billions of dollars trying to acquire new customers, and they're willing to pay you handsomely to give them a try. Here's how the math works. The average sign-up bonus for a Good Rewards credit card is between $500 and $1,000 worth of value. This could be cash, points that transfer to airlines, or statement credits. If you can responsibly handle getting approved for and meeting the spending requirements on just 2 or 3 cards per year, you're looking at $1,500 to $3,000 in free money. David from Chicago has been doing this for 3 years now, and he's earned over $8,200 in sign-up bonuses. His strategy is simple and conservative. He only applies for cards he actually needs. He never carries a balance, and he tracks everything meticulously. Last year alone, he earned 2 free round-trip flights to Europe, $400 in cash back, and enough hotel points for 6 nights in premium properties. The biggest myth about credit card churning is that it destroys your credit score. When done properly, it can actually improve your credit score over time. The key factors are paying balances in full every month, keeping old accounts open to maintain credit history length, and spacing out applications so you're not hitting your credit too frequently. But here's the strategy that separates the pros from the beginners. Most people focus only on the sign-up bonus and ignore the ongoing reward structure. The smart players choose cards that align with their existing spending patterns. If you spend a lot on dining and entertainment, the Chase Sapphire Preferred gives you 2 points per dollar in those categories. If you're a frequent traveler, cards like the American Express Gold give you 4 points per dollar on airfare booked directly with airlines. The timing strategy is crucial and often overlooked. Apply for cards at the beginning of months when you have large planned expenses coming up. This makes it easier to hit the minimum spending requirements naturally without changing your buying habits. Never manufacture spending by buying gift cards or making unnecessary purchases just to hit bonuses. The advanced move is understanding transfer partners. Points from cards like Chase Ultimate Rewards or American Express Membership Rewards can often be transferred to airline and hotel programs at rates that make your rewards worth much more than cash back. A 50,000-point bonus might only be worth $500 as cash back, but transferred to the right airline program, those same points could be worth $1,200 or more in flight value. High-yield savings account arbitrage. Your current savings account is probably stealing $1,800 per year from your future, and your bank is counting on you never realizing it. The national average savings account interest rate is 0.09%. That means if you have $20,000 in savings, you're earning about $18 per year in interest. Meanwhile, high-yield savings accounts are offering rates between 4 and 5%, which would give you $800 to $1,000 per year on that same $20,000. This isn't some risky investment strategy or get-rich-quick scheme. These are FDIC-insured savings accounts, meaning your money is just as safe as it is in your current bank, but it's working dramatically harder for you. The difference is that online banks have lower overhead costs than traditional brick-and-mortar banks, so they can afford to pay higher interest rates to attract customers. Maria from Miami discovered this by accident when she was complaining to a coworker about her bank's fees. Her coworker mentioned she was earning over 4% on her savings with Marcus by Goldman Sachs. Maria thought it sounded too good to be true, but after researching and confirming the FDIC insurance, she made the switch. On her $35,000 emergency fund, she went from earning $31 per year to earning $1,400 per year. Same money, same safety, but $1,369 more in annual earnings. The process of switching is surprisingly simple, but banks make it seem complicated because they don't want to lose your deposits. Most high-yield accounts can be opened online in less than 10 minutes. You can link your existing checking account and transfer money back and forth as needed. The only real limitation is that online banks typically limit you to 6 withdrawals per month. But since this is supposed to be savings anyway, that's rarely an issue. But here's the advanced strategy that financial advisors use for their wealthy clients. They practice what's called savings account arbitrage. They keep their emergency fund and short-term savings in the highest yield accounts available. But they also monitor rate changes and move money when better options become available. It's like playing musical chairs with banks, always seeking the highest return. The compound effect of this strategy is where the real wealth building happens. That extra $1,300 per year in interest, if reinvested, grows to over $18,000 in 10 years at 7% returns. Most people never think about the opportunity cost of their savings account choice. But over a lifetime, this decision can impact your net worth by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some people worry about the hassle of not having a physical branch, but online banking has evolved to the point where you can do everything you need digitally. Mobile deposit, wire transfers, customer service chat, and even ATM fee reimbursement are standard features. The only thing you're giving up is the ability to walk into a building, and in exchange, you're earning 15 to 20 times more on your money. Automated bill negotiation services. Most people accept their bills as fixed expenses, but successful wealth builders know that almost every recurring bill can be negotiated lower. The secret is that companies have entire departments dedicated to retention, and they'd rather give you a discount than lose you as a customer entirely. But most of us never ask, either because we don't think it'll work, or we don't want to deal with the hassle. This is where automated bill negotiation services have become game changers. Companies like Truebill, Billshark, and Rocket Money will literally call your service providers and negotiate lower rates on your behalf. They typically keep 25 to 40% of whatever they save you. But since you weren't going to negotiate anyway, it's essentially free money. Jennifer from Portland used Truebill to tackle her monthly expenses and was amazed at the results. Her cable bill went from $147 to $89 per month. Her car insurance dropped from $234 to $178 per month. Her phone plan was reduced from $95 to $67 monthly. In total, she's saving $142 per month, which is $1,700 per year. Truebill kept about $425 as their fee, leaving her with over $1,275 in annual savings. But there's a DIY approach that can be even more effective if you're willing to invest the time. The key is understanding the psychology of customer service representatives. They have discretion to offer discounts, but they're trained not to volunteer this information. You have to ask specifically, and you have to be prepared to walk away. Here's a script that works remarkably well. Call your service provider and say, "I'm reviewing all my monthly expenses and looking for ways to reduce costs. I've been a loyal customer for X years, and I'd like to continue, but I need to lower this bill. What options do you have available?" About 60% of the time, they'll immediately offer you a discount or a better plan. If that doesn't work, try this. "I understand. Can you transfer me to the cancellation department?" This is where the real negotiations happen. Cancellation specialists have much more authority to offer discounts because their job is to prevent you from leaving. Companies know that acquiring a new customer costs 5 to 7 times more than retaining an existing one, so they're motivated to keep you happy. The timing of these calls matters more than most people realize. Call at the end of the month or quarter when representatives are trying to hit retention targets. Avoid calling on Mondays when everyone is stressed from the weekend backlog. Midweek afternoons tend to be the best times to reach representatives who have time to work with you. Insurance is often the biggest opportunity for savings. Auto and home insurance rates can vary by hundreds or even thousands of dollars for identical coverage. The trick is getting quotes from multiple providers and using those quotes as leverage with your current company. They'll often match or beat competitive rates rather than lose your business. The HSA Triple Tax Advantage. Most people miss. Health savings accounts are probably the most powerful wealth-building tool that 90% of Americans are either not using or using completely wrong. The Triple Tax Advantage makes HSAs more powerful than 401k plans for long-term wealth building. But most people think of them only as a way to pay current medical expenses. Here's how the Triple Advantage works. Contributions to HSAs are tax-deductible, just like traditional 401k contributions. The money grows tax-free while it's invested, just like a Roth IRA, and withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are tax-free at any time. After age 65, you can withdraw money for any purpose and only pay regular income tax. Just like a traditional IRA, no other account type offers all three of these tax advantages. But here's the strategy that turns an HSA into a wealth-building machine. Don't use it for current medical expenses if you can afford to pay them out of pocket. Instead, invest the HSA money and save your medical receipt. There's no time limit on reimbursing yourself for medical expenses from your HSA. You could pay for a medical expense out of pocket today, invest your HSA money for 20 years, and then reimburse yourself tax-free for that old expense. Michael from Denver has been maxing out his HSA contributions for 8 years while paying medical expenses from his checking account. His HSA balance is now over $47,000, all invested in low-cost index funds. He keeps detailed records of every medical expense he's paid out of pocket, which now totals over $18,000. At any time, he could reimburse himself for those expenses tax-free, but instead he's letting the money continue to grow. The contribution limits for HSAs are generous. For 2025, individuals can contribute up to $4,300, and families can contribute up to $8,550. If you're over 55, you can contribute an additional $1,000 as a catch-up contribution. These limits often increase annually with inflation adjustments. The investment options within HSAs have improved dramatically in recent years. Most providers now offer low-cost index fund options similar to what you'd find in a good 401k plan. The key is choosing an HSA provider that offers investment options rather than just keeping the money in a low-yield savings account. But there's a lesser-known tax strategy that can amplify the benefits even further. If you're self-employed or have self-employment income, HSA contributions can reduce your self-employment taxes in addition to your income taxes. This can save you an additional 15.3% on your contributions, making the effective tax savings even higher. The long-term wealth building potential is staggering. Someone who maxes out their HSA contributions for 30 years and invests the money at 7% average returns would have over $800,000 in tax-advantaged wealth. When you factor in the ability to withdraw money tax-free for medical expenses, which tend to increase significantly in retirement, the HSA becomes an incredibly powerful tool for retirement planning. The side hustle selection formula. The side hustle economy has exploded, but most people are choosing opportunities based on emotions rather than mathematics, and it's costing them serious money. The key to building meaningful side income isn't just finding something you enjoy, it's finding something that maximizes your return on time invested while building skills that compound over time. Here's the formula that successful side hustlers use, but rarely talk about. First, calculate your effective hourly rate by dividing your monthly income goal by the hours you can realistically commit. If you want to earn an extra $500 per month and can work 10 hours per week, you need to find opportunities that pay at least $12.50 per hour after expenses. But most people stop there, and that's their biggest mistake. The real formula includes 3 additional factors: scalability, skill development, and passive income potential. A side hustle that pays $25 per hour but requires your constant presence is less valuable long-term than one that pays $15 per hour but can eventually generate income while you sleep. Amanda from Austin started with freelance graphic design, earning about $18 per hour for client work. After 6 months, she realized she was just trading time for money with no path to scale, so she pivoted to creating digital templates and selling them on Etsy and Creative Market. Her hourly income initially dropped to about $12, but within a year she was earning passive income from templates she'd created months earlier. Now she averages over $45 per hour of actual work time, because her creations continue selling. The platform economy offers unprecedented opportunities, but choosing the right platforms is crucial. Uber and DoorDash get all the attention, but they're actually among the worst side hustles when you factor in vehicle depreciation, gas, and taxes. After all expenses, most rideshare drivers earn less than minimum wage. The high-value opportunities are in skilled services that can be delivered remotely. Social media management, online tutoring, virtual assistants, and content creation all offer better long-term potential than traditional gig work. These roles pay better, develop transferable skills, and often lead to ongoing client relationships rather than one-off transactions. But here's the advanced strategy that separates the successful side hustlers from those who burn out. Focus on building systems and processes that can be replicated and scaled. If you're offering a service, create templates and workflows that reduce the time needed for each client. If you're creating content, develop a content calendar and batch your work to maximize efficiency. The tax advantages of side hustle income are often overlooked, but can be significant. As a business owner, even a part-time one, you can deduct legitimate business expenses like equipment, software subscriptions, home office space, and even a portion of your phone and internet bills. These deductions can reduce your taxable income from both your side hustle and your main job. The compound effect happens when your side hustle income is invested rather than spent on lifestyle inflation. That extra $500 per month invested at 7% returns becomes over $86,000 in 10 years. Many successful entrepreneurs started with side hustles that eventually replaced their full-time income. But even if that's not your goal, the wealth-building potential is substantial. The compound effect of small changes. When you implement all 9 of these strategies simultaneously, something remarkable happens. The individual savings and earnings compound together to create wealth-building momentum that most people never experience. Let's break down the math to see exactly how these tiny tweaks add up to your $10,000 goal and beyond. The subscription audit saves you an average of $250 per month, or $3,000 per year. The cashback stacking strategy earns you approximately $800 annually on your existing spending. The 2-degree thermostat adjustment saves $1,200 per year in energy costs. Your spare change investing builds $1,500 in year 1, growing larger each subsequent year. Credit card churning done responsibly generates $2,000 in sign-up bonuses annually. The high-yield savings account switch earns you an additional $1,300 per year on a $30,000 emergency fund. Automated bill negotiation saves an average of $1,200 annually across all your recurring bills. Maximizing your HSA contributions saves approximately $1,500 in taxes while building tax-free wealth, and a well-chosen side hustle conservatively adds $3,000 per year in additional income. Add it all up, and you're looking at over $15,000 in additional wealth building in year 1 alone. But the compound effect is where the real magic happens. That money, invested and growing over time, becomes significantly more valuable. After 5 years of implementing these strategies, you're not just $15,000 richer each year. You're building wealth at an accelerating pace as your investments grow and your systems become more efficient. The psychological transformation is just as important as the financial one. When you see these strategies working, you start thinking differently about money. You begin to see opportunities everywhere. You become more intentional about your financial decisions. You start asking yourself whether each expense is truly necessary and whether there's a way to earn money from activities you're already doing. But perhaps most importantly, you realize that building wealth isn't about making huge sacrifices or completely changing your lifestyle. It's about making small, smart decisions consistently over time. These 9 tweaks require minimal ongoing effort once they're set up, but they create a foundation for financial success that compounds year after year. The people who implement these strategies don't just save $10,000 in year 1. They build systems and habits that continue paying dividends for decades. They develop a wealth-building mindset that leads to even more opportunities. and they create financial momentum that transforms their entire relationship with money. Your $10,000 goal is just the beginning. These tiny tweaks are the foundation for a lifetime of financial success, and they're all waiting for you to implement them. Starting today,